welcome, welcome. We are live.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome to Rush Hour Real Estate with Alicia V. And
GP
all right.
out of Rematch Best Choice.
We have the live chat going if anybody wants to say hello to us so we know who is watching, and or if you have any real estate related questions, or maybe you are a vendor, some type of business that might help us, put any updates in the chat and we will highlight you so we can share anything you have to say while we're chatting away today. Happy Thursday.
Yes, absolutely. Happy Thursday. It's been a long week, it seems, for me. How about you?
Yeah, kind of just dragging on. I'm excited for this weekend. We have the Eastern Missouri Beekeepers Association workshops on Saturday. So a lot of beekeepers are coming into St. Louis and we have some parties planned. So I'm excited to see all of them.
Very nice. I,
Not real
well,
estate related.
not real estate related. That's okay. We have lives outside of real estate. Um, I have a third, so Raylan will be turning 3. Well, she turned 3 on Monday. So her party will be Sunday. And so we do that. And after that, that's really all my big plans for the weekend. Got some property to show, and which is great. I always, that's always fun. It's always good when you're out showing and working. Um,
Yeah.
so for those of you who's not married to a realtor, uh, our Monday is usually on Friday morning. So that kind of starts
Yeah.
our week. Um,
Yeah, Mondays tend to be kind of a quieter day for me where I can like catch up on if I needed to do laundry and go to the grocery store and make one-on-ones with folks that aren't buying and selling. Um but yeah, a lot of people are like, "We're sorry to bother you on Saturday or Sunday." And it's like, "Shoot, I didn't know it was Saturday or Sunday."
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's like, and I get that a lot too. It's like, oh, we hate to bother you. It's like, no, this is because we work when everyone else is off. Everyone gets
Right.
off work. That's when we're busy.
Yeah.
So for us,
Nights and weekends.
it's nights and weekends. This is not a job for those who do not like to work weekends.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be a
um,
little bit slow on Sunday over here at Conert Valley Subdivision at the display home, but maybe I'll make a pot of chili or something for
oh, that would be
myself.
good. That would be good. That would be nice. Now, are you going to be able to? Well, we'll talk about that after that. But yeah, the hot and chili
Yeah.
always is a good thing because snow is coming back.
Is it going to snow
The
this weekend?
Not this weekend. It's supposed to be next week. So um, I've got a lot. That's one of the things I've had several clients come out and they're like, we need to get in. We need to get in. And they're just kind of worried about the weather that's coming since the last storm was a little more than what we all kind of anticipated. I think it's
Yeah.
been a while since we've had a storm, or I shouldn't say storm, but snow that kind of took a while to melt.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, it was
wow.
really interesting with just being at this new subdivision and not having been through a winter here and looking out at some of the driveways. Like if your home was facing a certain direction, your driveway was not melting fast.
I know. The top of my. I apologize. I've got my puppy upstairs who is being a little obnoxious. She doesn't like being away from me, so she's gonna complain a little bit. I apologize. Um, but it's even my subdivision where where I have uh, the sun hits the full sun should have been like melting like crazy. It melted half of it, and
Oh
the top
yeah.
just kind of stayed there. I'm like, is it ever going to go away? So it finally
Yeah.
did, but I'm hearing we're going to get a little bit next week. So
Yeah. So
hopefully it'll be this
we're
week.
not in the clear according to the groundhog.
Yeah, it's all Puxatawny Phil's problem and
It's his
fault. And
fault.
his fault. I don't know. I think we need to retire him and get a, I don't know, maybe a Punxsutawney Pete. I don't know. Let's see what Pete says. I don't know. Phil keeps putting us under the bus. But well, for everyone who is going to join us today, hopefully, or at least watch our replay. And if you
Future
do, let us
watchers.
know. Let us know you're here. Let us say hi. Let us
Yeah,
know
after
you're watching the
this,
replay.
it live, like currently there's a live chat, so anybody could type any comments or say hello. But after that goes away, and then there would be a comment section, so you can definitely leave us questions and we can see that for next time. We do these rush hour real estate conversations every Thursday at 4 p.m. So you can like and subscribe on our channels and follow us for any updates. So today's topic is going to be the an overview of the buying and selling process.
Yep.
Buying and selling homes
Buying selling homes. Yes.
in
Um,
Missouri,
in
in St.
Missouri,
Louis.
and I say yeah, in the state of Missouri, we are. I'm with the license in the state of Missouri. I know that this podcast can be seen by just about anybody, anywhere, which is wonderful. Um, and if you're moving to St. Louis or deciding to come this way, make sure you reach out to myself or Alicia, and we can certainly help facilitate that as well, that relocation. Um, and just to throw it out there, we are a Remax is a large family of realtors, and we have lots of personal contacts in many places. So, just if you are moving from St. Louis and you're going to California, we have someone for that. If you're moving to Mississippi, we have someone for that. Just
Yeah,
from, I mean, we are very
all
fortunate to
over
have
the
those contacts
world.
all over the world. Absolutely.
I got this
And
lovely card this week from a friend in Arizona.
nice.
Stacy Miller in Arizona. And it was so cute that she had a whole little ornament and said, "You are my elephant."
That's not, hey, you know
Isn't that
what?
cute?
That is absolutely adorable
And
and to always be
the whole
remembered.
saying with it was in the wild, female elephants are known as fierce protectors. So kind of like a tribe thing.
There you go.
And I liked that correlation. A lot of times when we talk about Remax and the Remax balloon, because it's the most recognizable logo in the world for real estate,
Yes.
we call it the elephant in the room. We
Elephant in the room.
bring that. So I just liked that correlation she did there. That was really cute.
That is
And we
cute.
will be seeing her in Las Vegas at our Remax convention in 2 weeks.
Ooh, oh my gosh, it's crazy that it's coming up so quick. But
Yeah,
that is where, I mean, that is just one place that we are able to congregate and continue education, gather some valuable insight to bring to our, the clients here, back to
I
our
think
clients.
it's rest. No, it's not rest.
I was to say, there's no rest in there.
Rejuvenation. There's four R's. Um, Reward, because we're getting
Mhm.
our awards. Reconnect. Um, Rejuvenate. Oh, I don't know the fourth.
I
Re.
cannot remember. I was trying to think. It's like,
Oh.
I'm like,
We
I
will
remember
learn
those.
that in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was like, we will have that for you. Um, but there is no downtime there. It's, I mean, it's Vegas. It's the
Yeah,
city of
no
everything.
rest.
That's right.
Rest is for
So
the plane ride home.
that's right. And I figure I will take the busy and I will take the excitement, and we have some fun things planned. So we'll bring all that back to you once we after that excursion, and because we will be live that back in town and live that Thursday. Um, but so to kind of go through tonight's topic, the buying and selling process, just a quick overview. It does the one thing I guess for us or for me, um, there's a lot that goes in to buying and selling a home. It's not just sticking that sign in the yard and answering the phone or opening that door. There's a whole lot more that goes with it, and it we just kind of want to make a highlight, just kind of go through the quick topics. But if you have a specific question, again, make sure you hit that, send us that chat, send us a question even afterwards, and just know that there's a reason you hire a professional.
Yeah. So last week we kind of touched on the buyer agency agreement and why it was important to hire a realtor to help with the home search. And it correlates with the Missouri Broker Disclosure Form, which is disclosure to consumers that without anything signed, they have zero representation and the types of representation they can hire. And that kind of is just the beginning. So we've touched on that and how agency is for your protection. And that is the first step for buyers and sellers is really discussing agency and how it works. And that's with the agreement with hiring the realtor. And then from there, the contracts. Really, I feel like the residential sale contract is protecting the buyer the whole way through. So the buyer's the one who is initiating the contract usually. And in that contract, it comes with all kinds of timelines and contingency options, and really is just protection along the entire way, protecting that buyer and their deposit. However, what we are here for is to make sure that all those timelines are being met to protect the buyer so the buyer's not in jeopardy of a lawsuit. We're
Right.
not attorneys by any means.
No.
Our contract was probably written by several attorneys over the years, and they're constantly updating the wording and
Yes, they
the
are.
things. Um, but in that, it does explain that if you don't understand it, you could definitely seek an attorney. However, in Missouri, in our state, an attorney is not required for a real estate transaction,
There are
as
many
some
states
other
that do
states.
require. Yeah, there are some states that require. I think California is one of them. New York is possible. And again, I'm. This is from what I understand. I've never sold out of those
Outside of
states. So
Missouri.
yeah. So, but I have heard that that is kind of the norm for many states. The one thing that I the timelines are a huge thing. That's one of the reasons that you, again, like Alicia said, you have us for it. Um, you miss a contingency, which is a deadline. That deadline is um, everything is, and time is of the essence. There's no. Um,
We've
hey,
got a
Jamie,
viewer saying
nice
hi,
to see you.
Jamie.
There it is going to be something you want to follow. You want to make sure that not only does your agent follow those timelines, but you should be aware of them as well and why they're important. Um, if you miss them, you've lost the opportunity for some things. That's it's just kind of the verbiage in the
Yeah,
contract.
I mean the contingencies are arranging of different things. The financing, you need the time when you're buying a home to obtain financing, and that could be a part of the contingency, meaning that if you're unable to get that loan, you do not want to be obligated to buy the home. So that's a
And
big one.
absolutely.
Um,
And it starts right from the beginning. From the moment you write that earnest money check, which is your good faith, that's a good faith down payment, there is consideration for that contract. There is only so many days your agent has to collect that from you and get to your title company. If no consideration and you've missed the deadline, there's consequences to that, and they can be hefty. Um, and no one ever wants to have to act on those or lose out because of something didn't fall fall in that timeline properly. But that's again it starts right from the beginning and goes all the way to the end. There's contingencies and timelines all the way through it. So it's that's why it's important. And I was going to ask just real quick before we jump in too deep. you talked about several pages, which I know we've had some revampings. It gets revamped all the time. We have updated forms and different things. I happened upon a contract where my mom and dad had bought their house back in '70s, and the contract was literally a page and a half
Oh, wow. And it was
tops.
like transparent paper.
Yeah, it's like
That
they wrote it on
was
a
the
triplicate,
copy. By the
and
fourth copy, you can't tell what it was.
yeah, you have no idea what the fourth copy says at all. If you didn't get the first, the original, or that one right below it, you're like, I have no idea what I just signed. You're like, okay. But yeah, it was like, wow, this is the shortest contract I've ever seen in my life. It didn't have, um, well, it didn't have
I feel
90% of what
like
we have in
so
ours.
I got licensed in 2008 and we had transparent paper copies back then, but either that or it was the HBA contract and it might still be technically transparent paper. And I just never knew who got the yellow and who got the pink.
When I come in at I come in at 2010, and they were just starting to phase those out. And
Yeah.
I was the same. I'm like, who gets what copy? They're like, oh, really? You just have two. I'm like, well, then why do I have four pieces? What do I do with the other pieces?
I think we just
Um,
started copying the first page and not using them.
so I was like, okay, but yeah, it was. I was a little surprised that it was just so simplified. Um, every every contract, every word or every paragraph that has been added or changed, like Alicia said, I'm sure it was done by more than one lawyer over the course of the time, many years since real estate began. And oh, did we lose Alicia? Did she go? I may have just lost Alicia. She'll be back. I'm not sure where she popped off to, but um, let's see. I may need to send her back in. She'll pop back in here in just a few minutes. Um, Everything's been added by somewhere along the line. So, like Alicia said, we're not lawyers. We're not going to rewrite this contract in any way, shape, or form. However, if you have questions that we are not able to answer to your satisfaction or understanding, then that is when we would advise you to seek legal counsel. And that legal counsel is going to be the one that's going to be able to, um, I guess, decipher what is important, what's missing, what we didn't, weren't able to. There she is. I'm
Sorry,
like,
I'm on
and
my
I'm like,
phone and I got a phone call and it
oh
kicked
shoot, I
me
figured you're
off.
gonna pop back in. So I was just letting him know that we are just kind of talking that everything that's in the contract that has, that we can't explain to their satisfaction when we go through this contract, and we do go through this contract with as it's when we write it. It is not something we're like, hey, here you go, sign this page and this page, and we're good to go. We we will absolutely walk through. We answer your questions. We explain it to the best of our ability that we have been trained to do so. But if there are questions that you don't have, or that you have that we didn't get to maybe explain satisfactorily, then that's when we would seek, they would want to seek legal counsel before they would sign it. I have never had anyone, um, in all my clients, I've never had anyone that needed or felt they needed to speak to a lawyer before signing it. But again, that's, you never say never. It's
Yeah,
always,
really
on there.
the main times that I've expressed the recommendation for legal counsel would be, of course, if things are going wrong in the contract and like the other party is at fault, that's going to be a big we need the legal but would be lease contracts. The
Yes.
very top of the lease contract that we can write expresses that, or I guess it's a possession form. Like if a lot of people will ask, can we get access to the home prior to the closing? And it says something in the effect of if this is going to be more than so many odd days, that they recommend legal counsel, and a lease contract type of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Just went through
but
that actually.
yeah, yeah, those can be tricky because, it's still somebody else's home, and then the insurance question comes up. What if they're carrying in their boxes and they slip and fall?
Mhm.
And then what if the house burned down that night when all their
Who
stuff is in there?
who
It's just
falls
a
with it, right?
really
Who takes
sticky,
responsibility?
yeah, it's a really sticky liability concerns. And usually when you explain that to folks, they kind of understand, oh yeah, that is true. I, need
It
to
is
get
something
renter's
that,
insurance.
yep, you do.
Um, and most sellers are not comfortable with it. So,
And I can't blame them. It does set up tenancy. And if something goes wrong, it's in that contract, it's in that form that, you, if you're not out, like you said, by so many days or by the agreed upon time, now you've created a tenancy situation. And, do you, then at that point, you do have to seek legal counsel. That becomes something that's no longer something we would
yeah.
be able to negotiate for you. But I agree with Alicia. It's something that I strongly advise. I make sure I explain all of the possibilities, and if they agree to it still, and they have questions after that, they have, it is like you said. Now you need to.
Yeah, I mean, these contracts are binding contracts, and if a seller were to put their home for sale, accept a contract, and then say, never mind, there's gonna be legal repercussions
Yeah,
there. Or the same, a buyer puts a contract on the house, and they're ready, willing, able, and then all of a sudden they're like, I'm not gonna go to closing today. They can be sued for the full amount plus legal
absolutely.
fees. Yeah.
Specific performance, absolutely. Um, so there, there are a lot of things that could come up in contracts and buying and
They're all
selling.
different.
They're all different. These are all different scenarios. And as much as some are more common than others, that just happens to be one of the things that's not very common, but does happen. I
Good.
think I've had, counting this one with early possession, um, I think this will be my third one in all the years.
Oh yeah.
And
All I can always recommend on any kind of agreements that are kind of out of the, typical real estate contract is going to be, let's put it in writing.
put it in writing
No verbal agreements. Let's put it in writing, because I
because it
mean,
won't hold up in a court of law. Verbal will
yeah,
not hold up in a court of law in the state of Missouri. Everything's, this is legal, it's binding. Write it down, put it in writing. It doesn't have to be
yeah,
fancy. It just has to be in writing, and
yeah,
everyone's got to sign it. Everybody's got to
yeah,
agree.
yeah.
So, um,
So
so we
then
kind
the
of touched
next
on,
thing, like inclusions and exclusions in the contract, and that's kind of getting into personal property.
yep,
Personal property gets a little tricky sometimes, especially with TV mounts and speaker wires, ring doorbells. It's like, basically, if it's questionable, put it in writing, and we have that
absolutely.
that option to line everything out. The big question is always like, what appliances stay, and everything should be screwed in. The stove, the dishwasher, the microwave, they should all be screwed in.
Yeah.
Are they? They
Well,
should.
they should. And people, now I have had this question like, well, wait a minute, the stove isn't screwed in. Yes, it is screwed in. If it's done like it's supposed to be,
Yeah.
it has an anti tip
Anti-tip.
device that has screwed it to the wall or to the floor. So it is screwed in, but that is not
Yeah.
personal property. That is real estate. Um,
Yep. That is
the,
a fixed,
it
and
is
a
a fix.
refrigerator is personal property.
Right. It's only plugged in. And that leads me to uh, shelving. Let's say, like you said, TV mounts. Your TV is personal property, but you have screwed that mount into the wall. And technically, it's
And the
attached.
big
It
problem
is,
with the TV mounts is, specify for a seller to remove the TV mount, but then what about the big old bolt holes in the
I
wall?
know.
And
I
some
know.
sellers just might not be super handy to paint and smooth that section out. So then that turns into a whole big issue. So it's almost easier to leave the TV mount as it is and just buy another TV mount versus messing with patching those holes up and painting and all that.
I agree. Because some of those can really be, um, I mean, they can be pinky, pinky size
Yeah,
holes. So they're good size.
yeah.
But so
And
these
they're
are just
all
all
over
some
the
of the things.
walls now, mounted up high and on,
Yep.
maybe those folk, the new buyers want to put their TV on a different wall. And then, so it's all things that are thought about before the listing. Like one time I had somebody have an antique chandelier and they're like, oh, we're taking that with us. I'm like, well, we need to take
Yes.
that down before the photos,
Yep.
before the showing.
Before the showings.
Because
Absolutely.
it's
Because
funny when they're in there in the photos, then the buyer's like, "Oh, I saw it," but no, it
yep.
wasn't there. But it was in the photo. I saw it.
I know, and it does. It starts to then question. Well, wait a minute. Why? What if you leave it and it's photographed and you don't want to leave it? I
I had
understand it
one. We
makes the
didn't
house
really
show, but
notice it. The photo of the refrigerator or stove or something was one thing, and then during the showing, it was something different. But then when we went under contract and they reverted back to the photo, they're like, "We want that. That and it was like, oh,
like,
they swapped them out."
and yeah, it's so I agree. So these are things, and I have Tiffany lamps hanging from my. I've got 3 Tiffany lamps. When I go to sell my home, those will all come out before photographs ever get taken. Those entice people that makes the room look a certain way. That's appealing to a certain buyer. So it's you got to be careful. And all these, like, again, these are reasons that you may not know that, you may not
Yeah.
think about that. There's it's more than just depersonalizing and decluttering your space.
Yeah.
It's
Do mini
there's
blinds stay? Do the
mhm,
curtains stay?
yep,
The curtain rod.
curtain rods.
Oh, we've had a argument over a expensive curtain rod before.
Oh boy.
There's a curtain rod that's all decorative and they're so nice. And
Mhm.
then there's those double curtain rods that hold like the sheer behind the
Yep,
drape, and those are like $300 curtain rods. Oh, yeah. We
yeah,
need to
the
specify those. If the seller wants it, take it down.
absolutely. So these are things that you make sure either you take down beforehand or you go through. I've had my sellers, just specify, and then I put that in the listing. This is
Oh,
maybe they weren't able
another
to.
one, garden ornaments.
Ornaments, yes.
Oh,
The
boy.
landscaping,
Yeah. Landscaping, decorative things,
yeah.
sheds, swing sets.
Swing set sheds. The sheds are a big deal, especially if you have multiple, or if you have, when you have multiples, you have one that's really big and one that's average size, and oh, I'm taking that. I'm taking the big one. It has to be either excluded. I mean, because chances are you can't move that. You don't know where you're going yet. So you want that. You want your agent, which you want to let me or Alicia know that you want us to exclude that. Let me write
Yeah.
that up. And that way, when we put that out into the world and we send it out, the buyers and agents, they understand that at that point this is an exclusion. Um, we have spaces on the contract that some the what would be considered the that everyone should kind of know stays, but like curtain rods or stoves, all that's kind of listed. But then other stuff, specifics, let's say you're taking the cabinets out of the garage. Maybe they're, your
Oh,
1950s.
yeah.
And I'm taking those
Cabinet.
cabinets. You have to
Which
make sure that they're,
refrigerator are you referring to? The one in the garage, the one in the wine bar, the one in the kitchen, the one in the downstairs kitchen?
yep, be specific. You have to be specific. that is it. It removes all the what if. You have to remove the what if. There's no guessing in contracts. Um, if you guess, you're gonna lose. That's
Yeah.
I mean that's kind of how I have or at least I mean not necessarily I shouldn't say lose, but you could be disappointed
Yeah.
if you thought one thing and then found out it was another. So I don't want to word I shouldn't want to use the word lose, but disappointment can happen, and that's something you always want to avoid. No one wants to hurt feelings. No one wants to make it sour. So um,
Yeah.
we kind of talked about, and there's different types of contracts. I think today we'll just kind of talk about the standard residential because
Yeah.
there's lots of there's several different kinds. Um, and then we talked about agency last week. Agency is negated on the contract as well, so that
And
we
I know, like,
discussed.
so let's say when a buyer calls to start the home process, of course, we're trying to make sure, do they already have an agreement signed with another agent? Because a lot of people don't understand how it works and they'll call multiple agents.
Mhm.
And the worst thing that we could do is start working with somebody and taking our time away from our other clients or our family just to find out that they've already signed an agreement with somebody else. And so that's usually the first question. And then I would say the second question would be talking about financing. Is it going to be cash or a loan?
Mhm.
And a lot of folks do start with the pre-approval process first. And that's really good because then they can know their buying power.
Yep.
But that's why we bring that up right away because it is heartbreaking for us as realtors to see a buyer get so excited about looking for homes just to then find out from their lender they can't afford it
Yes.
or they're not qualified. And it really is disappointing. So we try to avoid all the many disappointments as we can
Yes.
by talking about those things first. And it's really important to start with the pre-approval if it is going to be a loan, and if it's going to be cash. What we need to write a contract is a proof of funds letter, which if you have the cash, your bank should have no problem saying so and so has X amount of funds available today, and write that letter. But the pre-approval, the overall buying and selling process, the brochure that we have that we can provide to our buyers, it does outline the difference between a pre-approval, yep, there it is, and a pre-qualification. So there is a difference.
Are you sure? Are you sure there's a difference?
There's
Because so many people think there's no difference.
no
I don't need
difference.
to be
So if you call your
pre-approved.
lender and you're like, hey, I make this amount of money and I have this and this X payments, and I think my W-2 was X amount last year, based off, and my credit score is this, and they might pull your credit score and kind of get an idea of that. um, they'll give you a pre-qualification based off the information you verbally told them.
Yep. And
But when they
I don't
actually
have that.
get your information and then maybe you were off a little bit on this, or you didn't think that this X debt was something that they would need or whatever. I mean, they're going to take that documentation and review it all and then give an actual pre-approval. So there is a difference, because what if some of those numbers were a little off, or there was something that was missed in their pre-approval process? They're actually submitting it through kind of an underwriting. They're going to verify all those things, and it's more solid. It is
Absolutely.
a more solid form to share when you're making an offer. It's going to look better than just the qualification that was a verbal conversation.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
And a seller's going to, a seller who has been educated about that. When you have what I said, my sellers, and you have, especially when you're in a multiple offer situation, um,
yeah,
a
yeah, you need everything to
pre-qual
look as good as you
is
can. And if they see a pre qualification versus a
go
pre
up against a
approval,
pre-approval.
And
they're taking a
too,
gamble.
it could be like, "Oh, this house came on the market. I'm gonna go to the open house Sunday. I'm gonna make an offer by their deadline for Monday. I just talked to my banker today on Friday at 4 p.m. and I got a pre-qualification letter." Great. But to get that pre-approval, it's gonna take time. It takes
Yeah,
those bankers a couple days.
takes a couple of days.
So waiting to the like to see the house and then get it is not gonna be in your favor.
No, and the one thing that that a lot of my clients have, they don't realize, they're like, well, why would I send it twice? Why don't I just want to send everything one time? And I'm I'm here to tell you that unfortunately, it's just a process, and you're going to send it. They're going to want updated documents. That's
And then
just,
the update, and then a
there's
new pay
update.
stub, and then the list. It just, I remember that feeling when I was buying a home, and it was like you get the email from the lender, and they're like, "We need this and this and this," and it's like, oh gosh, they need
Like,
all
I
this
don't know
stuff.
what's
I
up.
gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta get it. And time is of the essence. It is kind of an urgent thing.
It is
But it is
absolutely,
a
because if
feeling. It's nice to have maybe done that ahead of time. So I have some buyers right now that their lender calls it a platinum pre-approval.
oh, that's
So what
nice.
he's doing is taking that pre-qual, pushing it into the pre-approval, sending it to the
Level it up.
underwriter, and basically giving like a preliminary loan commitment.
Yep.
And that
Now that's gonna be,
is backing
uh,
it up like we know we have, so much success rate with our deals because the way we do this. So then it makes them more solid. They're going to be more confident. They can call that seller when you make an offer and tell their realtor, I've already done all this. We are backing it up, and they kind of almost like a little insurance or reassurance that the lender is confident, and that can get a deal.
oh, absolutely. I've had lenders call. I've had sellers, and uh, their agents, the buyers have come through. Their agents have submitted an offer, and then I've gotten a call from that lender, and uh, they're just saying, they just want to let you know, hey, which is nice, because at the same time, then I'm going to be able to take that back to my seller. It takes a lot of that uncertainty out of the equation. They know that they've already been through a large portion of the uh, process. So all they are going to do is send in updates. They're going to, do the lender side of things, but you kind of, as the selling agent and the seller, have and even the buyer's agent has, um, if I had the buyer and I got one of those, from their lender, I know that we can confidently go and make a strong offer and not have to worry about whether or not we're going to get kicked out because they don't like our lending.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, and I don't even know if I can say it, but a local lender means a lot more than the online website lenders.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to
No.
say names.
Yeah. No. I mean, there are lots of and there are lots of online. Oh, fill out the forms, and I'm not saying that a local lender can't do that too, but
Yeah,
local
the local
lenders
lenders,
have,
you can apply online,
absolutely,
but there's a
but they're
big
local.
difference between the local banks and brokers than these online websites that might be attached to some of the home search websites.
And not just for the lending part, not just for the numbers, I should say. It is for the lending part, but there are things that in the state of Missouri, depending upon the type of home you buy, the lender is going to have requirements, and a local lender is going to have. And I'm not telling anyone they shouldn't. If they come with me, if they come and they say, "Hey, D, I've got a pre-approval through XYZ ABC company," and I'm like, "Okay, that's great." But I have had it where sellers have asked, and they can ask anything, truth be told. If they're uncomfortable, not knowing and never heard of XYZ ABC 123 company, they're going to say, hey, you can use that company, but would you? I've had one. I've had it happen where they're like, "Would you mind getting a pre-approved or approval from a local lender just to show us?" Because they just didn't know who that lender was.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I mean it's with, and we're, some areas we're still definitely going to be in multiple offers, and we're never going to get out of multiple offers. Like they're just hot areas,
But
in St.
absolutely,
Louis market. And then there's some areas in St. Louis market where we're not experiencing multiple offers right now. So it can vary by community, but in the multiple offer situation, if you have two offers sitting in front of you and you're a seller and you don't know anything different. I mean, they could be the exact same terms, the closing date, the it comes down to the lender and the title company. It
yeah,
could.
it
It
could
could. And I mean, there's a lot to be said about the local people and the names that are trusted. So,
absolutely.
but
I
yeah, just
mean,
different things that we can talk about.
absolutely.
Yeah, we're kind of on that subject about the financing contingency in the contract. Of course, cash is king, so cash will always win, even if it's a little bit less in the offer price. A lot of people are uh, more interested in getting the deal done than making a couple extra $1,000 because they are taking out the risk in somebody's financing and appraisal. So cash is always king. Um, it has been interesting to see some ways people have overcome that financing contingency to win multiple offers in our market. There have been some creative things being done to make that happen. A lot more cash offers, I would say,
Yes,
coming through, and some of that could be relocation folks. I mean, I can only imagine. I don't even know what's going to happen with rebuilding California. But we
yeah,
were already seeing a lot of West Coast people cashing
moving.
out and moving Midwest. So it
Yeah,
really has pushed our market prices up um,
yes. I guess I've seen that
already.
trend spread over a year. I mean, it started last year, maybe even a little bit before that.
Yeah, I would say like
Started noticing
2 to 3 years after COVID,
after COVID.
basically, like when people could remote work, a lot
Mhm.
of folks went to the Midwest, and I heard stories at the convention from folks in Texas that they had big billboards like with a boot kicking the California buyers out, like you're not welcome here.
It's like we need our local people to get this.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
is. I
because when
mean,
they
you're
come in,
competing.
they're selling for these high dollars. And then we've got these Midwest prices, and they're like, "Oh, that's nothing."
That's nothing. Let me write it extra. Yeah, we can do that. And we
Yeah,
can close it because we got the cat. We'll go ahead and do that in 2 weeks.
yeah. A lot of investors coming in, buying as is, paying over asking just to turn around and rent the homes. Has been a big market in St. Louis.
And I know that there, and I won't mention names, but I do know that I believe it's at least two that I know of off the top of my head that lenders that are backing their approvals
Yeah,
with and letting their clients write as cash because they're backing that approval that well.
yeah.
Um,
It
it
does
takes
cost them. There's a fee.
there is a fee for that. Don't get excited, y'all. Uh, don't get it twisted and don't get too excited. There is a fee for that.
Yeah, that's a whole topic of
Yeah,
conversation.
we may have to. We'll see
That
if we
will
can
be
get some
another
lenders in
week.
here. Yeah, that'll be another one. But there's all, like I said, again, this is just we're trying to touch on different things in the contracts, and it's just there's so many options, there's so many things to consider.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
again, this is why I obviously I want you to use a realtor. I want you to call myself or Alicia and or any of our you know we have a plethora of very good agents that we colleagues that we work with, and but there's reasons you need a realtor. There
yeah.
truly is. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I
so
mean, from there, I think a lot of topics on that brochure are things that we can invite some of the tradespeople in.
Hmm.
on and get some lenders to join us and talk about those different programs and home warranty. I think we could probably pull in some home warranty representatives and have a whole topic conversation on home warranty. Lead-based paint is definitely an important disclosure that we are required to share.
Now,
And
curious. Um, is that only required by realtors to share?
no,
No. Oh,
no,
okay.
no,
Oh,
even a
well,
for
how would
sale
I
by
find that?
owner should
Again, there you
share,
go. There you go.
but
So,
do they know?
what do they know? And do they know the
Yeah,
fine that they'll pay?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I won't tell you the fine. Give me a call and I'll tell you what that is.
yeah, yeah. Maybe that could be something we could do next week because I don't really have anything on the top of my mind. Next week is Thursday is the 13th, the day before Valentine's Day.
It is.
And we could talk about lead-based paint.
We could. We could absolutely. Well, better home warranties. I think either one will be
Yeah,
a good option. So
yeah.
we'll surprise you guys.
It'll be
Watch
a
for the click.
maybe both. Maybe because, doesn't take that long to
Yeah,
talk
we could
about stuff.
probably have both. I think both would be a good option. So yeah, next week we'll touch on the importance of that, and then the importance of or why to consider a home warranty, and where does that go in the contract? Um, is who pays for it? Just all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Um,
What can it
yeah,
cover and all of that. And that's also something that is only offered with a realtor for
right.
the listing.
For the listing,
And
that's right.
yeah, the home warranty. Um, yeah, it's kind of sweet this time of the year because of all the fall, the love on your home and all that. And I really feel like that February kicks off our spring market.
Yes.
A lot of people, when you think of spring, you're not thinking of spring right now in February, especially after that dang groundhog. And it's gonna get cold next week.
And I was like, that Monday's teaser of 70s was just
Yeah,
the
so
reason that
spring's
I now
not here
sound like
yet.
this.
However, our spring market is beginning.
Yes,
And for anybody thinking about listing in the spring market, the plans really begin mid-February, which is next week. So it is time to think about that. I always feel like in St. Louis, we have a little home surge with the home show and
yes,
with the home and garden show. I don't know if they
garden
still
show.
do that
I
show.
do think they
Um,
do. I
yeah,
believe
because
they do.
that's always like what, the first week of March. And it's
It
like
used to be.
boom, home and garden show, boom, some green grass and some flowers sprouting and the bees coming out and all that. And that's really when a seller would want to have their home on the market because people are starting to get into that spring market late February.
Absolutely.
So,
And the
yeah,
buyers start coming out there. They've now waited, and so now they're all coming out. They're ready to have that down payment. They're ready um, to to jump in and start really
yeah.
searching.
Tax
So it really
returns
does. Yep,
are
tax returns,
helpful for some
first time
down
home buyers,
payment.
and even any home buyer actually.
Yeah.
Um, so we've talked about a few things now, and we'll touch on the lead-based paint and the home warranty next week. But I'm curious. Um, so in the contract, and if we have anybody listening, or like I said, you pop in and hear this later and think about it. What are your thoughts on inspections? How do y'all feel about that? I know that they're important. I feel that they are a good thing to have. If nothing else, it provides you a honeydew list. Every home's going to have a honeydew list, unless you come and see us at Conard Valley or
Yeah, buy
one
a
of
new
our other
home.
subdivisions, buy a new home and have it built. Um, so, we
We
have
got a
options like
lovely
that.
two-story over here.
We do have a lovely two-story. It is absolutely stunning. A traditional style too, that two-story. So for those of you who like walls, where we have all this open space, the new concept, everything's open. There's no walls. I still have furniture that need a wall.
Oh
So
yeah.
Some walls are okay. Um, but so inspections. It's something we really didn't, and we will cover that in depth because inspections can. There's a plethora of inspections that you can order, and you can you have in the contract. There is a timeline that you can have those home inspections done. You do not want to dally. They You miss that deadline, and you can't then negotiate on anything that you have found in those inspections that may need to be addressed prior to moving on. That's so again another reason that a realtor is important. They have the connections. They have, and I don't mean connections that'll get you the inside full. I mean that we have strong vendors that we've built relationships with that we trust as well, that we can refer out. And if you're unsure, there's who here uh, outside of a realtor, and unless you just happen to be married to an inspector or know an inspector, do you know what you can have inspected in your home that you're buying? Should you have a pre-inspection for one you're selling? Um, all those are all questions that come up and things that have to be negotiated and addressed. So uh, again, all that through the contract. Government inspections. Who pays for those? Who's responsible? Is there ever a time that they're not responsible for them? Um, is can missing an occupancy inspection cost you the deal? Sure it can. Um, again, and that's in a whole separate section of the contract. So like I said, it really just goes over quite a bit. So inspections is something that probably that could take that's a whole conversation all in itself. Um,
Yeah, a missing occupancy inspection could result in that municipality knocking on your door and saying, hit
that's
the
right.
road.
That's right. We appreciate you stopping by. Uh,
You cannot live here until you get the occupancy inspection cleared. Yep. So we hope that everybody who is watching or watches us in the future has enjoyed our conversation today or gained some little itty bitty bit of knowledge about real estate, or maybe you have a question and you can still reach out to us. Like and subscribe our page. Next week on Thursday, February 13th, 4 p.m. Rush Hour Real Estate will continue, and it'll be hosted by D on D Pizak's YouTube channel. So make sure to be on alert for that and join us with some conversation about maybe home warranties and maybe lead-based paint and maybe Valentine's Day. I don't know.
yeah. We'll
um,
spread a little love, spread a little knowledge, and maybe, like I said, hopefully you've enjoyed the conversation today. I know it's a lot of information, and we're never going to be able to give you everything that you need. But again, like Alicia said, don't be afraid to give us a call, and you're able to reach out to either of us, and we're happy to explain it and walk you through the process and represent you in any way that you need. So feel free to give us a buzz.
until then, we're just gonna rock out for a minute right here. Join
Definitely
us.
join us because this is the way to go. Oh, look at that!
I don't even know how that happened. Can you even hear
Oh,
me?
I can hear you, but I'm
I
like, you're
had a
starting
whole
with the light.
concert going
You got a light
on.
show and stuff happening. Whoa!
That was pretty awesome.
That was
All
awesome. Okay, so
right.
y'all who's watching, Alicia has a little bit more experience on this. So mine may not get a laser show, but I will certainly give it a whirl.
Maybe it's just the host. I don't know. That was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool.
All
All
right,
right, guys.
everybody. Have a great weekend. Don't
Until
hesitate to
next
give
time.
us a call, especially on Saturday and Sunday.
Yes, we are working. I
Especially
promise.
Sunday, because we'll be bored because everybody will be watching football.
Oh, that's right. Oh, we forgot.
We'll be
All
at
right.
open houses. like
Yeah,
waiting.
yep, we'll have lots of food and lots of snacks. So come on by. You can root for your team and still buy a house. So we got you.
All right.
Take care,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.